Howdy. This is the first time I'm recording on my computer as opposed to my PlayStation. I normally record on my PlayStation because my computer's not able to run something like Warframe. You'd probably make it explode, but we're going to be doing a Warframe tier list video. I wanted to do this because I think it'll trigger people, and I think that's funny. So, so here we are. So, this is an updated tier list of all the frames that are currently in the game. So let's go ahead and start. Well, first I think maybe we need to edit this list just a tad bit. So I'm going to add a row, new, down here. And we're gonna label this I don't know, alright? Because I'm gonna be honest, there's still like 2 or 3 frames in the game, or a couple that I am not quite sure about, right? So, yeah, that way I don't misjudge them as being terrible. So this is where the frames are gonna go that I don't know anything about. There's not too many, but we will start off with the frames that go here, right? Which would be Caliban, Baruch. I've heard Baruch is good, but I've heard Caliban is doo-doo water. Actually, I do know about Dagoth. Let's see, Lavos. I don't know much about Lavos, though he did just get an augment that buffed him significantly. Though it's pretty one-dimensional playstyle with your weapons, I think, which is a bit sad. He could probably use a rework, to be honest. I've played Garuda several times on one of my friends' accounts. I think that might actually be everybody, right? I think those are the only frames that I don't really know much about, right? Sevagoth, actually. I still don't. I got Sevagoth, I leveled him, and then I ate him right away so I could try Gloom on some other frames for some builds. So I don't have him anymore. I'm probably not going to get him for a while again because his prime should be coming out in the next 6 months or so, I think. So I'd rather not invest into him too much when his prime version will be out, because I already waste a lot of resources as is, and I'd rather not waste any more. So these are the frames that I don't know about, so sorry if, you wanted to hear about them. I unfortunately don't know enough about them. So let's get into the rest of the frames. We've got S tier. Okay, let's go ahead and describe the tiers so people aren't confused. S tier is basically way too strong, might actually need a nerf, crazy good. A tier is where every frame should try to be at. Realistically, they can't all be, but this is where Warframe should try to be. Okay, S tier is way too powerful. A tier is very strong, but still reasonably balanced. B tier is not quite strong as A tier, but they're still good. These are good options, okay? A B tier Warframe doesn't necessarily need buffed. They're just not quite as potent, though they may have more niche than some of the other frames, right? They might have some things they're really good at specifically. C tier is Warframes that are questionable. They can be good, but they take a lot more effort to use. D tier, this is rough, okay? If a Warframe's in D tier, then they really need some love. They need some buffs, they need some tuning, maybe not a complete rework, but they need some massive buffs. And then I'm going to add one more tier, add a row below, and then we're actually going to move this up. This is going to be F tier. A Warframe in F tier needs reworked like a Naros, okay? If they're in F tier, they need a total rework because they're horse shit. So yeah, these are the tiers. Now, let's get into it. Ash, alright, S tier. This guy, he's way too strong. I surprisingly have seen people in the past month even on videos commenting on other people's videos, not my own, that saying that he needs a rework or that he's bad or most of the abilities are bad. Yes, he has a couple downsides, but he is absurdly strong. He has Invis, okay, which is cheap, easy to cast. You can keep it. Yeah, its base duration is terrible, but you can build duration for his other stuff anyways. And you can be Invis 24/7. That's really strong. He has an augment that gives you free crit chance while you're Invis. That also lets you make your teammates Invis. Invis is the strongest form of survivability in the game outside of Revenant's Mesmer skin. That's really, really good. He has shurikens, which do okay damage, but then has an augment that lets him armor strip, so he can also have a full armor strip in his build without having to subsume something onto him. He has one of the strongest passives in the game, increasing slash duration by 50% and damage by 25%. And that's multiplicative. That's insane. He has his third, which is actually extremely underrated. You teleports to an enemy or an ally or an objective, and then you can finisher them. That's actually really strong, and there's some amazing builds you can use that. Like with the augment for the finisher and then marked for death, you can nuke rooms of enemies without needing armor strip. You can do some huge damage. And his 4, while it can be difficult to use or build into, is actually crazy strong if you use it right. Ash is an amazing Warframe. Now we've got Atlas. Atlas, I don't think he gets enough love. He's not as bad as people make him out to be, and he can actually be absurdly strong. If you armor strip and you have a good build, he's going to one-punch anything in the game, level cap or not. If you can punch it, it's dead. That's kind of insane. Though he does have a lot of downsides. Like his 2 is kind of terrible. His 2? Yeah, his 2. His 3 is okay, but super expensive. And his 4 is questionable at best. But his 1, oh buddy, I love Atlas. I'm gonna try not to spend. I need to not spend too long explaining all the frames. Otherwise, we're gonna be here for like an hour, and I'd rather not have an hour-long video for a tier list, right? So we're gonna put Atlas at a comfortable C tier, right? I know I just talked him up. But, well, no, B tier. I think Atlas is a nice B tier frame. His problem is he needs a lot of investments, okay? But if you have a lot of investment, he can be good. Banshee, this one's easy. Banshee's also, well, with shield gating, I actually would say she's A tier now, right? Her 4th is terrible, but you can just put a helmet on, and the rest of her abilities are good. I actually did a Banshee video recently talking about her, and I think she's a very, very good frame. She's quite strong, and she has a decent crowd control, and silence is amazing. And because she already has in her base kit, you don't need to helmet it onto her. Decent frame. I like her a lot. Chroma, already I think he didn't get as much love as he deserved. People putting him in like D tier or F tier. But now that he got a buff with the Dante Unbound hotfix, like the 7th hotfix, so that you can build his damage and armor buffs by getting kills with melees for the armor buff and guns for the damage buff instead of taking damage, he's easier than ever before to get the damage buff up. So it is additive to base mods like Serration, but on any weapon that has multiplicative gun CO or condition overload for a melee, right, normal CO, it's actually going to be a multiplicative buff, which is confusing and weird, but if you know what that means and you use a weapon that builds into that, he's going to do absurd amounts of damage. A great example would be the Archiplasmor. I know a lot of people use that Tenet Archiplasmor. Yeah, it's going to be multiplicative on that. It's going to do insane damage. You can get like 1,500% damage if you get high enough strength. That's fucking insane. And he has good survivability outside of level cap, because he can health / shield tank, but that doesn't work well into the level of thousands of enemies. But up to level probably 2,000, he can get high enough armor and health if you build into it that he can actually health tank. So in most of the game, he can health tank. Otherwise, you'll have to try to go for a shield gate build. I'm going to put him in B tier. A tier, actually, you know what? Because niche, but where he does work on weapons, holy shit, he does some big PP damage. Yeah, he's got some problems in his other abilities. I think he definitely needs a sort of rework. Maybe B tier because, fuck. Okay, fine, B tier. Super strong, but he needs a slight rework on some of his abilities because they're kind of doo-doo. Dagoth is a comfortable B tier as well, right? She has decent damage. She can apply slow with her wording scythes. She's got viral. She can spread doom to do some big PP damage and nuke rooms, but she doesn't really do anything unique, I feel like. She's just another good frame, big damage, has nuke, right? Like, there's not too much unique about her, in my opinion. Citrine is an easy A tier. Some people put her in S tier. One of my favorite YouTubers to watch, what's his name? Warframe Flow. He puts her in S tier. He says she's the best. I think he put her in S tier. He says she's the best support in the frame, or support frame in the game. I don't think I agree with that necessarily, but I do think she's really strong. Her health regen and damage reduction she gives to the team is unfortunately terrible in endgame stuff because DR scales horribly, but she's still very strong frame with great status application. And with her augment that came out with Dante Unbound, she can give red crits galore everywhere. So, very, very good frame, support frame. Dante. Dante is S tier. I actually personally hate Dante, which is fine. You don't have to like every frame of the game. And I think people that dislike frames and then they're mad, I don't see the point in that. Like, there's like 70 Warframes, right? 60, 70 Warframes. You're not going to like them all. And that's fine. I think Dante's insane. I personally hate him. I don't enjoy playing him, but he's stupidly strong. I'm not really going to explain why, because there's like 1,000 Dante videos. Dante's the newest frame, and I swear there's already more videos on him than any other Warframe in the game. Very strong, amazing. S tier. Ember. Ember's C tier. I love Ember, and I'm actually going to be working on an Ember video. I am working on. I've been testing a lot of stuff on Ember, but she's really hard to use, and she takes a lot of investments to be strong and a lot of effort to play and has horrible energy management. She just takes constant brain power being put in or she's going to do horrible. And that's just really hard to do for most Warframe players. So C tier it is. Equinox. Equinox is another A tier Warframe. Or, you know what? Wait, that's not H. That was B tier. I almost want to say S tier because she's so freaking strong, but I don't know. She just, because of her casting speed, I suppose, not quite S tier. She's an amazing frame player. I gotta speed through it. We're taking way too long in this. I'm gonna try to speed things up, okay? Excalibur. Excalibur is, I'm gonna say C tier, right? He's not amazing, but he's not terrible. Frost is an easy S tier. I'm not putting these in any specific order in the tiers, though I will, at the end, I'm going to rearrange them in the tiers in the order I think they're in, so in case you're wondering on that. Gara's C tier. I love Gara. She's one of my favorite frames in the game. I've played her quite a bit. I've really tried to make her work, but she unfortunately has a lot of problems. Garuda's actually really good. She's an A tier frame. She's got big bleeds. She's got good survivability with her blood mirror in front of her. She's got a lot going for her. Goss, S tier. I don't think I really need to say anything else about him. Grendel is C tier. He's not bad. He's really, really fun to play. But his best part about him is honestly Nourish, and you can put that on other frames. Like, he's a great frame. He's just, there's better frames that do similar things. The only thing, like, if you're going to go for a unique playstyle, it's really going to be like eating and rolling around, but then that doesn't really scale well into the endgame. But a very fun frame to play nonetheless. Gyre's S tier. Gyre's insane for nuking entire maps. She does huge damage. I actually did a Gyre video. Maybe check that out if you haven't seen that. Haro is A tier. He has a very high skill floor, but a high skill ceiling. Hard to play, but very good weapons platform and a bit of support. Hildren. One of my 3 favorite frames. Not in any specific order because I don't think I could pick, but my 3 favorite are Hildren, Yoreli, Valkyr. But despite how much I love Hildren, I have to put her in D tier, which is really depressing. She's actually what she has going for her, right? She has some stuff going for her. She has Pillage at base, so you can have Pillage with another helmet because you don't have to subsume it onto her. And Pillage is, in my opinion, the strongest helmet ability in the game, one of the strongest abilities in the game in general. Her passive is actually stupidly strong, a 3.5 second shield gauge. That's so comfy. But Haven is terrible, her 4 is terrible, and her 1 takes a absurd amount of investment to get to do any sort of decent damage, and even then it's not good. So, unfortunately, she's not amazing, but I do love her a lot. Hydroid is S tier for sure. Hydroid, after his rework, is just stupidly strong. He does have a problem that somebody in a comment pointed out on my video about him, that he unfortunately isn't that great against enemies without armor, like Corpus and stuff. But that in itself isn't a problem because Corpus and Infested die so easy anyways. Like, it doesn't really matter that he's not specialized for that because they're going to die to anything regardless. Had to get a drink there. All right, moving on. Anaros. Anaros is B tier. He's actually really strong after his rework. It's just, he's a health tank frame. Like, his whole point is he's a tank. He's the tank in Warframe. And he's not tanky because of how enemy damage scaling works. That's just depressing, but he is quite nice, especially if you put 2 green shards on him. Ivara. Ivara's A tier as well. She's strong, has invis, which is great, has headshot damage multiplier. Overall, great frame, especially for camping with her dash wire augment. Korra, S tier. I mean, amazing pseudo exalted that can go all the way to level cap. Great farming frame, just very comfy frame in general. Kullervo. Kullervo is S tier. Some people would say A tier, but I think he's way too strong. He's really freaking strong for melee weapons. And with how his 3 works, you can actually make him a gun platform, right? A weapons platform for guns. And I'm going to do a video on that in the future, so stay tuned if you want to see that, right? And maybe subscribe so you can get the notification when it comes out. But that's not going to be for a little while. I'll probably need a couple weeks on that. But he is really, really good. He is one of the best melee Warframes in the game. I think Varuna is or maybe better. I don't know, but I think Varuna takes much more effort to play than Kullervo does, right? Kullervo, you have to cast a lot of abilities, right? Like casting his 3 and teleporting stuff, but he's very brain-dead melee playstyle. Whereas Varuna, you actually have to cast even more and keep up with stats effects and know which enemies you're targeting. It's rough. Now, since we're on Varuna, I might as well do her. She's A tier. She's strong. Melee frame, just like Kullervo. She has probably higher potential than Kullervo, but takes, like I said, much more effort, much more investment. I just think Kullervo he's really easy to play, and even if you are good at the game, right, when you start getting into really intense combat, it's hard to keep up with all of the stuff you do on Varuna, whereas Kullervo's just, cast your 3 and then teleport and everything dies. Limbo is going all the way in S tier, all right? There are a lot of people, I think, that are not going to agree with this, but even with Eximus existing, Limbo, if there's no nullifiers are his one weakness, but if there are no nullifiers, Limbo is the ultimate defense Warframe. You can't get better defense than Limbo. He's just so freaking strong. He does not freeze Eximus, yes, but he still freezes their bullets. They can't shoot you. The only thing they can hit you with is their abilities. And what do you know? Silence is a helmet. Put silence on Limbo, all of a sudden you're pretty much invincible. You can't die as long as you're in the rift. And then your teammates, if they're using abilities, because abilities can shoot in and out of the rift, like a Mesa, say, then you have the most insane combo ever. He's very, very strong. People should rate him higher than he is, honestly. Loki is also S tier. We're putting a lot in S tier, I know, but there's a lot of S tier Warframes, I think, that people just don't give enough credit. Loki is very easy to play, very comfy, with amazing crowd control. People are like, oh, he doesn't nuke, oh, he doesn't give weapon damage. Yeah, well, guess what? Weapons already do enough damage to kill enemies all the way to level cap, right? Especially like the Incarnate weapons. There are weapons that can kill level cap enemies without any help. Okay, if you're using those, why do you need more damage? You have enough damage for everything in the game. So Loki is just lots of comfort. He's just so good. Mag, another S tier Warframe. Okay, she's got amazing builds. Her 4 can stun lock enemies, root them in place, fully armor strip, give a ton of shields to you, give a ton of shields to teammates, give over shields. That's just her 4, right? With the augment, though, for the armor strip. She has a sucky suck that pulls enemies in, does massive damage, has crazy synergy with weapons like Archiplasmor and Nadruk. Her 1 pull is actually amazing after it got reworked a while ago. It's so good for pulling enemies in. It has absurd range, 25 base meters on a pull effect. A grouping effect with 25 base meters. Do you have any idea how insane that is? Yes, it's only in front of you, but that's still super strong. She has an augment that lets you disable enemy weapons with her 3. She's just so good, so good. Mesa. This is going to upset some people, but I'm putting Mesa in B tier. She's actually pretty good for end game, right? Like, you can do level cap stuff if you don't use her regulators. I actually think you should subsume that off for any sort of endurance content, because her regulators do not keep up. But overall, all of the crowd control and stuff she provides can just be done better on another Warframe, right? Especially since you can put muzzle flash in another Warframe. And then her regulators, yeah, they're insane. They're really good. They're really fun, especially in the circuit when you get decrees. That can go to level cap. But in normal missions, not the circuits, they don't keep up in damage. They don't work. Not in endurance runs, not in level cap. They will not kill anything in level cap. I tried. I spent way too much time trying to make her work. Mirage. Mirage is an A tier Warframe. She is on the borderline of S tier, but she lacks survivability. She has no survivability whatsoever, and she has no good ability to spam for shield gating either. That's a big issue. You could put pillage on her. I think that would fix a lot of the problems, and it would give armor strip, but then you have to give up other helmet options, because there's a lot of other interesting ways you can play her. So if she had slightly better survivability, I think she'd be S tier for sure, but for now we're leaving her in A tier. Necros is B tier. B tier because he's better than people make him out to be. His shadows can aggro. You can actually build them to do damage if you're facing high level enemies. Like, they can kill at level cap. Alright, if you're armor stripping, your shadows can kill at level cap, since they take the damage and have a multiplier for the enemy's damage when you resurrect them, and enemies do absurd damage at level cap. So he's actually really strong there. His problem is survivability and energy economy, but if you can make that work, he's actually really strong. But he does have horrendous casting times and needs a fair bit of investment to make work. Good night. Sorry, I was talking to my dad. Okay, Neza. Neza is A tier. He has like one of the best nukes in the game with his augments. He's very, very strong. He's got a lot of speed, a lot of survivability. He's got a lot going for him. But I just feel like something's missing to really push him into S tier. He's another frame like Mirage, right? He just needs a little bit of something to go into S tier. Like, I don't know, maybe he is S tier, because I don't know. Okay, you know, we'll put Nez in S tier, because he is quite strong. I guess the new augment is what pushes him over into S tier, because he's got a great nuke, goes through walls, amazing survivability, amazing AoE. He's got good augments. And status cleanse with his fire walking ability. He's a really good frame. S tier. Nidus suffers from a similar issue as Naros. He is a health frame with no shields. Kalervo is too, but he has Overguard, which fixes that. We're going to put Nidus in C tier. B tier. He's not quite as far down as C tier. He's a very good... Shit. I kind of feel like maybe I need to separate the tiers just a tad bit more. I don't know. Because now that I think about it, Hildren should actually be in C tier, not D tier. Because I feel like she's better than Gara. I don't know. We will like make sure we'll go over the list again and just revise and sort the order of all the frames at the end. Nova's a comfortable A tier. Actually B tier. She would be A tier, but she's really hard to build all of her abilities at once. Her stat she wants is rough. But she's a really strong frame. She could use a little bit of tuning. Nyx is A tier. She's got incredible crowd control. She's similar to Loki. Honestly, if Nyx had Invis, she would be an S tier in my opinion. But she doesn't, so she's sort of just like a slightly worse version of Loki without Invis. Oberon is in B tier. I love Oberon. I made a video on him, but he's just got a lot of problems. Octavia, S tier, but she's also boring as shit. So that's about it. Protea, also S tier. Extremely strong frame, just stupidly strong with a lot going for her, especially her passive. Corvex is in B tier. He's better than people give him credit for, and you can actually make his 4 do big damage even at like level against endurance enemies, right? but he does lack some. I think he could use a bit better survivability. He could use a little more something, but he's not bad. Revenant. Revenant is S tier just because I would put him in A tier since all he really has is survivability. But like I said earlier, when we're in a game where we have enough damage from weapons to kill anything in the game, being invincible makes life so much easier. So he has to go S tier. Rhino is in C tier. I think he needs some help. Yeah, he has a big version of Roar and he has Iron Skin for armor, but his 4 just got nuked because it doesn't work with Eximus anymore. His 1 is terrible. He's really slow. His passive is a joke. I just feel like there's better options. If you really want big PP damage and tons of overguard, just go like Dante, right? There's better options. Saren, S tier, right? Everyone knows Saren's S tier. Styanax, A tier. He also gives a ton of overguard, and he's got a really good new augment, I believe, for his 1 that's pretty juicy. And you can make his 1 have big suck and do decent damage. I think is a very, very good frame. And his ability to have infinite energy from his 3 is insane. Titania's A tier as well. She's really good, and I have a video coming out either before or after this or at the same time about her, so watch those. I actually have 2 different videos of Titania. Trinity is... Ooh, she's rough. I almost want to say S tier. She's got a lot going for her. She can give amazing survivability to herself and the team, and has a crazy nuke that does true damage. You know what? Trinity's S tier. Trinity... Unfortunately, you can't build for all 4 of her abilities, even if you put a helmet in, so you lose out on at least like 1 ability that ends up being worthless, but she's still very, very strong. Valkyr is amazing. She's A tier. She's crazy with her exalted weapon if you make her work. I have a video on her. She's so freaking good. Please try her out. Vobin is in B tier. He's got an insane suck for big maps and decent survivability in crowd control, but he could use a bit of a buff. Volt is another S tier Warframe. He's just amazing. He's been S tier since the dawn of time, and he will always remain S tier. I firmly believe that. Wisp, another S tier. I know we're putting a lot in S tier, but there's a lot of good Warframes in this game. I firmly believe that. Wukong is... I'm going to put Wukong in C tier, right? He's really just for those little cucks that like going AFK in a corner, honestly, right? Or speeding to the end while teammates do all the work. I'm not saying all Wukong players are like that. If you like Wukong, that's fine. It's just, unfortunately, there are a few little dipshits that do that. Zaku's an S tier Warframe. Just wait, when Zaku Prime comes out, everyone's going to lose their shit, okay? You'll see. People will finally find out how powerful he is. Zephyr's A tier, almost. She's S tier if you get her stuff to work, but the problem is getting her to work. Sometimes her tornadoes are finicky and certain weapons don't work well, but some weapons are absurdly strong with her. She can reflect bullets. I'll say S tier, but she's like, yeah, S tier. Ureli is way stronger than people give her credit for, especially with her new augment from Dante Unbound, which gives her very good survivability with iframes galore at the wazoo. I'm going to put her in A tier. People are going to be like, what? Ureli above Mesa? Yes, trust. And that is all of the Warframes. So I actually have no Warframes in F tier. I don't think, after Inaros, I honestly feel like none of the Warframes need total reworks like they did before. Most of them are, at least they have at least some value. I don't know about these 4 down here though. Or well, I know that Lavos and Baruch aren't bad. I'm not sure about Caliban and Sebagoth though. I'm not sure if they need reworks. So let's go ahead and sort things out. I'm not going to sort this out because, like I said, I don't know. But we can sort out the rest of these tier by like best to worst in the tier. So we're going to go ahead and actually, I almost want to move Ember down to B tier. Yeah, actually Ember's in B tier. because she can be strong. She just takes way too much investment and effort. Like, there's better frames to play, better frames to put that investment and effort into. We're going to put Rhino at the top of C tier, then Excalibur. Then, I guess just because her passive is so comfortable and she has Pillage, we'll put, this is a bit of bias, but we'll put her here, then Grendel, then Gara, then Wukong. Then in B tier, the top of B tier is going to actually be Nova. Nova all the way at the top. Then we'll have Chroma. Then we'll have Necros, Mesa, Dagoth, Naros. Wait, no, Dagoth, Atlas, Corvex, Vobin, Anaros, Nidus, right? Yeah, Anaros, Nidus. A tier, the top of A tier is going to be definitely Mirage and Varuna for sure. Like, these guys got to be at the top. Girls, sorry. Then we're gonna have Hara. This is a tough one. There's a lot of good frames in A tier to try to sort through. I'm gonna say Citrine, and then Garuda, then Haro, then Ivara, then Equinox. No, Equinox above Ivara, and you know what? Yeah, Equinox all the way up here. Then Nyx, Banshee, Styanax, Titania will be, she'll be near the bottom 8 tier, but she's still really good. Then Ureli. Yeah, I love Ureli, but this is fair. This is fair down here. Now we have S tier. At the top of S tier is, what is the Einswig gonna say the best Warframe in the game is? The best Warframe in the entire game is, drumroll please. What's that? Oh, it's Octavia. Wow, everyone saw that coming. Let's be honest here. I don't even like Octavia, but here we are. Octavia is literally at the top because she's insane. Then we're going to put Gauss. And then we're going to put Ashe. Yeah, Ashe stays right there. Then Loki, I actually believe, is next. Loki. Korra. Ooh, this is so tough because there's so... Oh, wait. Saren. Saren's just under Gauss, just above. Actually, I'm going to put her... I'm going to put her just under Ashe. Actually, Loki is going to have to go down a few spots. Protea. Revenants, like over here. Dude, S tier is so... This is so hard to sort. Limbo is S tier, but he's going to be the bottom of S tier. Trinity's S tier, but she's also going to be near the bottom. Same for Zephyr. Neza's down here. Volt's amazing, but I'm also going to put him near the bottom of S tier. Revenant's survivability is insane, but I'm still not going to put him high in S tier. He'll be around the middle. Not there, right there. Wisp is going up here. No, Wisp is actually down here, I'd say. Right, yeah, that seems about right. Then Mag, then Kalervo, then Gyre. I actually think Kalervo is above Gyre, but Gyre's still insane. Frost is under Loki and under Kalervo. Actually, he should be near Mag. Gyre should actually be lower, under Mag, and under Fry, and under Hydroid. Zaku can move up above Wisp. And there we go. I think, yeah, I'd say this is a pretty good tier list. Well, actually, you know what? I'm putting Wukong at the bottom of D tier. Bottom of D tier, actually. Yeah, I'd say this is it. So, yeah, that's the tier list. If you disagree, then make sure to leave a very hateful and horrible comment so I can laugh because it's funny. And let me know what your favorite Warframe is and what placements you might change. That's going to be it for the video. So thanks for watching. And I'm going to say adios here in a second. I just got to figure out how to stop recording on OBS. Hang on. We're working on it. Okay, here it is. All right. Adios.